How's my audio sound, Beatmaster? All is well? I'm gonna give it a few more minutes for folks to join in because we're gonna do a tutorial. I know this is probably a weird time of day for the folks all around the country. You know, it's only 2:00 p.m. over here. Hey, Josh Rice in here. Ryan F is up in here. Cool. Power wash time. So funny, so funny. But yeah, today, y'all, I'm going to do tutorial on multicam video editing. You know, there's a camera there. There's a camera there, and I did a video a week or so ago. I can't remember. It's been a little while. Maybe it hasn't been a little while, but a previous video that I did for work, I did it as a thank you video from for Mr. Troy Bulwer. He's a follower of Pruitt and a follower of mine, a friend of mine. At least I like to call him a friend now. I don't know if he feels that way. But I just did a thank you video, and when I did the video, I recorded it with 2 cameras, and I put it together inside of Premiere Pro as a multicam video because I think it would have been a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more interesting if I shot it with 2 cameras instead of 1. You know, to each his own. I'm sure I was wrong in my assumption. I usually am, but that's just how I like to roll sometimes. It's just shake things up, and if I can do multicam shots, I'll do multicam shots. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's go ahead and get rolling. Actually, let me see if I have that video. I'll just show you the video. YouTube can't take it down if I show it because it's my video. So let's see. We'll switch to this screen right here. There. So this is the video, and it's only a minute long. So I got a DM from Pruitt fan and friend
audio off.
Troy Bulwer.
Did a little motion graphic template there.
Send you a
not too hard to do.
Macro extension tube, as well as some
That's
ear
camera
savers
one.
for you,
Me
and the
running
Pruitt
my
family,
yap.
so you can have something that's going to be a little bit better on your ears with those masks that you guys have to wear right now.
Then that's camera
Oh,
2.
man, that's a lot in here.
Cuts to that. Cuts back to
So
camera
here's the
1.
extension
Back to
tube.
camera 2.
Nicely
Focus.
done.
Focus.
This thing even
Focus.
has my name on it. Now let's get into these.
Still camera 2. Back
ear
to camera
savers.
1.
And holy
Back to
moly,
camera 2. Another motion
there's
graphic.
a bunch in here. Troy, thank you.
Back to camera 1.
Now, I have no idea how to
Camera 2.
use one of. How in the heck? What am I supposed
And
to do with
then
this
you
thing?
ended
So,
up on
let's see, here's
camera
my
1.
mask.
Nope. I went back to camera
let's
2.
see,
Then I ended up on camera 1.
did I do it right?
Cool.
So I got a DM.
All right. So allow me to walk you through how I set that stuff up. Now, the key with, at least in my opinion, the key with doing multicam video editing is it's got to add to your story. It's got to add to the message. I had 2 cameras. I had this camera going and I had this other camera going. And as I'm doing the demonstration, I wanted this camera to be the main camera, you know, so you can get my verbal message or what have you. The other camera is like the B camera. It's not necessarily B-roll, but it's the B camera. And when I wanted to look down at the product or whatever, I had to make sure that I timed it that as soon as I looked down, this camera over here would fire up. And that's the kind of stuff that video editors take into account, is they look for visual cues and they look for audio cues to tell them when to switch cameras when they're working on a studio set or anything like that. And it's the same when they're doing post-production, because in post-production, you can have a bunch of cameras that had a full ingest of a show, and they can do switching, you know, after a live to tape kind of thing. So look at your cues, listen for the cues, and figure out how to make the different camera switching work with your story. Okay. So that's what we'll do here. I'm just going to go back to that same project. I'm not going to try to recreate the wheel, but we'll go over to my screen here in Premiere Pro. And if you have any questions, I am watching the chat. It's a bit of a delay, unfortunately. Sorry, my throat is jacked again. But yeah, I'm watching the chat. So if you have questions, just ask questions there in the chat. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and hop into Premiere. Did I fix this screen? Hold on. There. That's the one I want to show you, because now you can see me looking at it. All right. So this is Premiere Pro, and as usual, when it opens up, it allows you to look at previous projects just in case you want to start over or go back and resume, yada, yada, yada. My advice, you see this right here where it says video template? If you're a Premiere Pro user, create yourself a template file, which is what this is. And all it does is it opens up and gives me all of the assets that I typically use when I start working on a video project. I'm going to have bins or folders set up a certain way. I'm going to have a list of audio tracks that I may use for the music bed, stuff like that. So let me show it to you. There. Well, I probably need to move that camera out the way. There we go. So music bed and all of that stuff. I have all of these different folders and stuff squared away. So when I get started with the brand new project, I don't necessarily have to import all of these assets, all of this additional music that I could use, video bumpers and things like that. It takes a lot of time to try to search and hunt and peck for all of that stuff. So just open up a brand new template or a brand new project file and then do a save as, and just save it as a video template like what I did right there. Cool. But now we can go ahead and get started on the actual import. I'm going to pull in that footage. Let's see. All right. So I got some files here, and I renamed them for Cam 1 and Cam 2, and I'm going to import them. And so now they show up here in the project media bin, if you will. And this is Cam 1. And as you can see, this is just the main camera that's right in front of me. And this is before going live and all of that stuff. So this is all of the behind the scenes. And then right here, you'll notice I'm clapping. There's a reason for that. Okay. And as I play through, it just goes through the whole spiel, if you will, all the way down to the end. All right. Same for Cam 2. If I open up Cam 2, you'll just see that it's just looking down at the screen. And then you'll see I'm clapping. Yeah, just clapping right there. All right, so now you got your footage. What are you going to do with this stuff? So you want to select all of it, right click, and then I would say, actually, let's do a new bin. So we'll say right click, new bin, and we'll say Multicam, something like that. And I'm going to drag these up into that bin like so. Okay. And now right click, select them all, and then you want to right click and you'll say create multi-camera source sequence. That's what it's called. So you click on that. It brings up this other little dialogue. I wish I could zoom in. If I'm able to do this in post after this live stream go up, I will, but I doubt it. But this will give you this extra dialogue. Okay, so it's called Multicam. And you get all of these different options to synchronize your video clips. By default, it's set to audio right there. Okay, by default, it's set to audio. And what that does is the AI will sort of
try to figure out, okay, where is these two camera files, where these two video files, where are they matching up at? And the best way to help that AI along is to do what I did, is give it like a clap sound, give it something where in the audio waveform, it's super easy to distinguish it and line them up. So a lot of times if you watch a television production or whatever, or a movie or whatever, and the man or woman walks out there with that little clapper thing, clap, they're using that to say, okay, this is the show that we're shooting, this is the scene that we're shooting, the time of day, clip, whatever. But that clap is also a good indicator to synchronize the camera. That's the different cameras that are on the set. So all I did is, I don't have a clapper with the little, board or whatever. I just use my hands and I usually do like 3 claps, sometimes 6 claps, just to keep it consistent. So that's what's going on there. All right, so back to Premiere. So I tell it audio, it's going to sync up on audio. I want it to sync off of camera 1's audio, use that as the master. And then as far as the audio channel presets, just leave it at automatic. I mean, you got a bunch of different options in there. 9 times out of 10, it's just going to go out as mono anyway for most of the stuff that you're doing. Mono is a lot easier to work with. So, but 9 times out of 10, just leave it at automatic. And then the camera names here, you can leave them at the default, enumerate the cameras. All right, so now we're going to click OK. It's going to think. And there, it's done. So now if we look over here on the left in the project bin, you saw where I had this multicam folder or multicam bin. It's now created what's called a process clips folder. And all that is just the 2 camera source files that I had. And then it created this sequence file. Okay. So now to actually get this into a timeline where we can do some video editing, we'll right click on that sequence file and we'll say new sequence from clip. And it'll pop it over there to the timeline. But we're working with 2 different cameras. So what are we going to do? There's this wrench menu right here in your program menu. You can click on that and you can check out the multi-camera view that's found here, like so. So now it's going to pop up with both of the different cameras being visible from this one track in the timeline. And if you want to add another little hotkey down here, you can do that by clicking this plus button and find the icon up here. And that icon is this one here, toggle between multi-camera, and just drag it down, which is what I did already. So we'll cancel that. Hold on, I need to get some more water. Good Lord, what is wrong with my throat? Okay. Okay, so we got this multicam view showing up in our program monitor. And if I scrub through my timeline, you'll see we got camera 2 right here, camera 1, camera 2 is right here, camera 1 is right here. And then this is the final output. This is the final view. Okay, so if I was to play this through, essentially the final output is only going to be this screen here that's highlighted in yellow. Okay, of course I don't want that. So I want to start out on this camera, camera 2. And if you look a little bit closer, let me see if I can zoom in on this timeline a little more. If you look a little bit closer at my timeline and this audio track down here, you can see the audio got synced up perfectly because of this clapping that I did right there. And it makes sense to you, right? So everything that I said on that other camera versus everything that was said into the microphone and the other camera, everything just synced up easily because I gave the AI a little bit of a crutch, a little bit of a head start to say, hey, we need to sync up. So that's what it did. Okay, so now back to actually cutting this stuff. Okay, to cut it up, we want to make the main camera, the starting camera. So I need to find the spot in the timeline footage where camera 1 is going to be the opening shot. So I just go on to the timeline, move the playhead. Right about here is where the video actually starts. Okay. So I'm just going to trim all of this out because I don't need it anymore. Trim that, right click, delete. So the very beginning of the video is here, but it's on the wrong camera. As you can see at the top, it's staring at camera 2. Now, how do I fix that? All you got to do is just click up here or just hit the number 2 on your keyboard. See, right now, this is indicated as number 1. If I click 2 on my keyboard, it'll switch over to that one like that. Okay. So I'm going to click over to number 2 because that's what I want to start on. And you just play it forward. So I got a DM from Twit fan and friend Troy Boulware saying, you know what? I want to send you the previous part. Okay. All right. So now this is where I should be switching back over to the other camera. I'm going to back up just a touch. I'm going to change this to quarter res. Also, all right, so now stuff looks like. Now this is a visual cue. I'm looking down, but then I can see over here if I should actually switch, because if it doesn't look all that interesting, why switch there? You know what I'm saying? So I'll go ahead and hit 1 on my keyboard so it'll switch back like that. Hit play. Whoops. There we go. Because what's supposed to happen is it'll give me a little cut. Right about here. Okay, so now I'll hit that other one like so. Oh man, it's a lot in here. So switch to camera 1. Here's the extension 2. I'm making the cut. Nicely done. Even has my name on it. Oh man, that's awesome. Okay. And I can just keep it on this one because it looks like there's a long delay right here. So I'll keep it there. So here's the extension tube. And then when I want to look nicely done. This thing even has my name on it. Oh, nice. Very nice. Now, let's get into these ear savers. And holy moly, there's a bunch in here. Troy, thank you. Now, the thing is, I have no idea how to use one of. And as you can see, there's a couple times in my switching with this thing. So I made some mistakes. Here's my mask. Let's see. We can fix that here in a second. Did I do it right? There. Okay, so now we'll stop the footage. And if you look at the timeline, you'll see that this timeline has now been broken up into different segments right here, like that. See that? It's now broken up. It was a solid line, but now it's broken up into different segments. And those different segments are the different cuts to the various cameras. Okay. So now we'll go to the very beginning. We know we wanted the very beginning to start on this main camera, and it did. Plays through. Switches off. Looks good. So here, see, and now I'm looking away. I shouldn't have that camera view right there as I'm looking away. So at this point, I'll tell it switch back. Like so. Okay, so we'll start it back. I'm sorry, you're supposed to hit play. Duh. All right, so we'll hit play. So here's the extension tube. And we'll tell it switch back. There. So now it's made the break and the switch. Okay. And just keep scrubbing through. And now we see we have this long delay in between. That delay is useless. So let's just get rid of it. We can still treat this as any other video editing timeline. You can make cuts and shorten things and extend things just as you would any other video timeline. The only difference now is you have multiple cameras in there. So you have a couple different segments that are going to show up, but it's still pretty straightforward. I'll show you. So back. All right, so this is a little bit too long, this particular piece here. So I'm going to hit V on the keyboard to make sure I have my selection squared away, which they are. And then I'll move it to a decent point that makes sense. Yeah, so it looks like I should make the cut start in here. So I hit C on my keyboard for the razor tool, cut there. And then I'm going to hit B on my keyboard for the ripple effect tool. I can never say that. And I'll scrub forward to where I think the cut should happen. So here's the extension tube. Yeah, so right about there. And seeing this waveform audio makes it a lot easier. Gives you another visual cue. So I'm going to hold B on the keyboard, click B on the keyboard, and then I'm just going to drag to there. Uh-oh, my audio didn't sync. Let's go back. So we go back to here like that. There we go. So now highlight like that. Then we hit B. There. So now that long dead air is gone. Nicely done. So here's the extension tube. Nicely done. This thing even has my name on it. Oh, nice. Very nice. Now, let's get into these ear savers. And holy moly. See right there, I didn't need to switch. I didn't need to switch to that camera view. We should just switch back to this other one. So we'll line up the playhead again right here. Switch it to that one. Click play. There's a bunch. And it should be back to the proper view. There we go. Good. Good. All of that looks like it works. How in the heck, what am I supposed to do with this thing? So let's see, here's my mask. Let's see, I guess we good. Did I do it right? And then I can stop right there. And of course, just highlight the edges like this, trim it back, and that video is done. So that's a good 1 minute or so, 1 minute, 23 seconds. I could trim out a little bit more or speed up some of the footage. But the last step is just go ahead and export it out like you normally would. Just do Control M or File Export. I'm not going to actually do it, but I'll just show you the dialogue just for kicks and giggles. Export it out, yada, yada, yada. We'll say footage, ear savers, demo, export. Does that. Make sure all of your regular settings are good to go. And then just send it on its way. And that's it. Simple. Simple, simple, a lot easier than one would realize. All right, so I don't see any questions in here. I don't think so. Let me double check. Nope, no questions. Good. That means y'all get it. Mercy, 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 mercy. Anyway, I just thought I would share that bit of workflow. Hopefully to help you out when you're doing your own multicam sequences and have some ideas that you want to shoot a video, but thinking, man, I should use multiple cameras and try it out this way and make it look like this and make it look like that. Now you can just throw it in Premiere Pro and do multicam editing. Some things you should note. You do not have to have the same type of camera. You can do this with multiple types of cameras. This camera here is not the same as the camera that's over here. It's not the same type of camera. If you want to do it with a phone or, something like that, your phone makes pretty good video footage. So you can line up your phone and just, if you want to put it on a tripod, do it that way, or handheld it, whatever. Just use whatever you got, and don't necessarily worry about it being the same model. The key is making sure you give it a nice sync point, that clap, something that allows you to sync up your footage so everybody's on the same page. And when it's time to make a cut, it'll make those cuts a lot easier. Okay. All right. So that's going to do it for me. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to get ready. He said he just checked my LUTs. Okay. Thank you, Beatmaster. Just check your LUTs. Yep. I like playing around with lookup tables too. You have import LUTs and you have some creative LUTs inside of Adobe Premiere. Josh Rice says voice recording. Yep. If you you can do this with voiceover stuff too. If you want to record a separate voiceover track, using like an external recorder out to the side or whatever, like a Zoom recorder, a Tascam or something. Yeah, just stick it out to the side and then clap, synchronize that up. And but yeah, with Beatmaster, you're correct. If you're using multiple cameras, you do need to try to make sure the color is semi-close to matching up to one another. That's a challenge that I have had in the past, but if you can set it up to where your camera can shoot what they call log, which is a flat profile or just a standard neutral profile or something like that, that's a big help and give you a baseline to help match things up. Sometimes they're going to be a little bit off, and it can take a little bit of effort, but just dial that stuff in beforehand if it were me. So when you get into post-processing, the adjustments are a lot easier. Done. All right, I'm getting out of here. Make sure you all are subscribed to this channel. Make sure you all are subscribed to my shows at work with Pruitt. So go to twit.tv/hop for hands-on photography. Go to twit.tv/how for hands-on wellness. And check out my 2 shows there, y'all. I really appreciate the support. Really do. But yeah, that's it. Stay safe out there. Shelter in place. Follow all the rules. Create and dominate. Don't think that you can't be creative because you're locked at home or locked down or whatever. You can still find something to shoot and be creative with. You can, I promise. Even if you got to just take pictures of outside the window, whatever it takes. All right, stay tuned for some more content. Subscribe and share all this stuff out with other folks that may be interested in this content. I appreciate y'all support. Catch you all later on.